This video is going to be all about 5 resources I use to help with my mindset and mental health in regards to my business. So if that sounds like something you want to hear more about, stay tuned. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I'm Steph. My company is Bushel, and I make soy candles, handmade soap, bath salts, lip balms, shower steamers, that sort of stuff. And I talk on this channel a lot about behind the scenes of running a business like mine. And this is one of those videos. I feel like mindset is such a, it's such an abstract kind of thing. And sometimes I think people just naturally have the right demeanor or the right outlook on starting a business, and they probably don't struggle with this stuff as much. I think there's a lot of people that just have this sort of confidence that this is what they're meant to do, and they continue to have that as they keep growing a business. But if that's not your natural outlook on starting something of your own and then maintaining it, I think that mindset it's just like one of those crucial puzzle pieces to feeling successful in your business. No matter what the numbers are in terms of how much money you're making, if you're not feeling good about how things are operating or how you get to show up in this business, then it's not going to feel as successful because emotionally you're not going to be in the right place. So I feel like I'm always working on my mindset and my approach to protecting my mental health while also giving enough of myself to the business to keep it running and to grow. And so these are 5 resources that I really lean on to help me with that sort of stuff. Most of them are free. I think one of them is paid. 1 or 2 of them are paid, but they're things that I spend my own money on. I'm not big enough to have sponsorships, but I just want to clarify that none of this is sponsored. These are all things that I willingly do on my own and willingly pay for, and I'm just sharing them because I really think they help me, and I want to be able to let other people know about them if you don't already. So I'm just going to dive right in and talk about the first one, which is the paid resource, and that is BetterUp, which is not to be confused with BetterHelp. Unfortunately, the names are very similar, and they kind of do similar things. But BetterHelp, I believe, is more like strictly therapy, and BetterUp is coaching for workplace themed topics. So I think their bread and butter is more for people in corporate settings, particularly people in leadership roles, and helping them sort of work through the issues that come with managing people. But even though that's sort of, I think, their primary approach, I've been working with my coach on BetterUp for, over a year, I think. And I just think it's been so helpful. It's a sort of a standard coaching dynamic. We have regularly scheduled calls. They have different subscription levels. So depending on what your budget is and how much help you want, I think you can do 1 call once a month. I do a call twice a month. And I think you can do more than that also if you want to fast track the help that you're getting. Maybe you're at the beginning of launching a business, or maybe you're about to, take a big step forward with something new. There's definitely different options, but I just love having a coach at a price point that I feel like I can actually manage. There's a lot of coaches out there in the world, but I find that generally they're more than I want to spend at the time, especially as a young business. I just don't have the ability to fit that into my budget. But at this point, I'm still getting a ton of help from my coach. You fill out a survey so that they match you with somebody who generally has the kind of background that will be able to help you with the things that you need help with. And the person they matched me with is great. I really enjoy talking with her. And I think the main thing she helps me do is focus on the priorities in my business and how to plan out the next like month or even just the next week, depending on how overwhelmed I am by what I have going on. Like sometimes we really are just talking about the immediate future on our phone calls and like, how do I get through all of the chaos of like whatever my schedule has coming up? So I think that it's really great for solo business owners who don't have someone else to bounce ideas off of or have someone to help them prioritize what needs to get done first, second, like what's the most important thing, all of that. I just said multiple ways to prioritize. It was kind of redundant, but you get the idea. And I just think, I think it's been super valuable to me. I know that I can get really off course when something like shiny and exciting pops up, just like an idea comes to my mind, or maybe an opportunity that someone approaches me with. I can get so easily distracted from the foundational stuff in my business that needs to get done. And I feel like every time I have a call with my coach, it really recenters me and helps me stay on track. And I am sure that I've made so much more progress in my business because of my time with her than if I hadn't used that at all. Numbers 2 and 3 are both newsletters. So they are free resources. I think both of these people have options for paid versions as well, but their free content is so great. So if you're a young business owner, and I mean, like your business is young, you can be whatever age, but if you are new to starting your business and you still want resources that help with mindset specifically, I think both of these are so great. The first one is from a friend of mine, Andrea from Type C Creative. She works with systems and productivity and all of these sorts of things, but she does it from a lens of intuition and sort of anti-capitalism, not just like perform until you run yourself into the ground. She has much more of a holistic approach. She's neurodivergent. She's very funny. Like, I just love the way that she writes. So as someone who, I'm subscribed to multiple newsletters of hers, but the thing that I think could be really helpful because of how it's just like the perfect little jolts of reminders, and that is her mindful little email is what it's called. You can do a daily email or a weekly email, which just recaps what was sent out each day. I do the weekly one just because I feel like I already have trouble managing my inbox, so I'm not the right audience for the daily one. But if you're someone who really likes that like daily reminder of like something to meditate on or just like something to keep in mind while you're working, the daily one is a really great option too. So it's just a tiny little snippet. Sometimes it is a challenge to you to take one thing off your to-do list or a reminder to rest, or they're just small things, but they really are great reminders. And they're things that I feel like, this stupid fly, they're things that I think we struggle to manage for ourselves. And having that outside reminder is a really nice way to bring you back to the priority of taking care of yourself and your mindset while you are running your business. The next newsletter was actually recommended to me by Andrea, and that is the Work Less Wednesday newsletter from Rich Webster. I don't know much about him. Like, I had never heard of him before she recommended this newsletter. I believe he's a graphic designer. I think he runs a graphic design firm. And this newsletter is all about his mission to sort of achieve the same level of success by working less, which I very much appreciate. I think that's a great goal to have. And even though I think the trouble with this newsletter, just a heads up, especially if you're like a product-based business owner like myself, because he's a graphic designer, I think a lot of his team works remotely. They work whatever hours work for them. Like, it's not all of his advice is practical for a product-based business that's sort of location dependent. If you have like a brick and mortar, whatever, I don't know that everything he sends out is going to be applicable. At least that's what I've found. But enough of the newsletter is related to prioritizing, marketing, cutting out the fluff of what we're told we need as business owners to be successful, and sort of distilling down to things that actually matter and make a difference, but maybe don't take as much time. And I love his approach. I love his mission. It's also a really well-designed newsletter, which he's a designer, I guess that makes sense, but it's absolutely an argument for like less is more. I think that it's a very simple, it's really clear what the main points of each section of the newsletter are. It's very easy to read, and I just really enjoy it each time that I get it. It links out to a lot of things that he's enjoying and that he's taking away from them. But even, this is what's one of the things he does that I love, is that even something that he links to that's maybe like a longer form resource, whether it's a longer YouTube video or a long article or a book even, underneath the link to it, he will list out his main takeaways. So if you don't have the time to go take on that entire resource, whatever it is, you're still getting some of the highlights of the takeaways from whatever that topic was. So I just think it's really well done. I think it's really inspiring. Also, as someone who writes newsletters, not nearly regularly enough, but still. And I just love, like I said, his sort of mission to help people work less while also achieving their goals. Now, this next one is a little bit, I don't know, I feel like people have very strong feelings one way or the other about this, but I also know it's being talked about a lot. And this particular hack, not hack, but like this approach, I think is super interesting and I really love it. So I'm talking about ChatGPT. Obviously, I know there's a lot of fears around how it's gonna lead to the end of civilization. Sorry, pause for garbage truck. But at the moment, I think what it's really helpful for is just like, it's like a more efficient Google search, in my opinion, at least in my experience of working with it. And I watched a video the other day of how someone uses ChatGPT for her personal life. And this one thing I think absolutely could apply to your business as well, which is using ChatGPT to help you come up with prompts, like questions, journaling prompts, to help you reframe your mindset about something you're struggling with. And I tried it out and it honestly works really well. So take something that you're struggling with, like maybe you are struggling with asking for more money or just increasing your prices in general. Maybe you're struggling with meeting new people to network with or who to approach for whatever. You can write into ChatGPT an explanation of the thing you're struggling with, why you're struggling with it, and then ask, could you come up with some prompting questions to help me reframe my mindset around this? And it'll come up with like 5 to 10 questions that you can then journal on or even just meditate on. And it's pretty amazing what it comes up with. So I just think this is really nice, especially if you're sort of like sitting alone at your computer and you're spiraling about something and maybe you don't have a coach yet that you can take this question to, or you're in between seeing someone who usually helps you with these sorts of things. It's just like a really quick and easy way and free way to help you refocus like what the actual issue is here and get out of your head a little bit in order to, I don't know, just like stop the negative story that's going on in your head. So I don't know, try it out. I'm very curious how it works for other people. Like I said, I've tested it and I feel like it was actually a really satisfying list of questions to journal on. So if you try it, let me know, leave a comment. I'm like very curious about how it works for other people. And then the last one, the fifth thing that I think has really helped my mindset, that is free most of the time, but it does take a lot of effort, and that is small group meetups with other business owners. I've talked about this a little bit before in my like networking video that I made, but I think it is so important to have peers to talk to. Obviously, a coach is great as well, but I think a lot of progress can be made just from talking to peers and other small business owners about the struggles that you're going through with your small business. Because I think what is great about talking with people who are maybe at the same level as you. They don't have to be in the same industry. Like I had a meetup the other day with a bunch of women and a lot of them were in tech, which feels very foreign to me. I can't even keep my website updated. Like running a tech company is not anywhere in my future, but even just expressing my concerns with hiring a new person or other things that I struggle with around the mindset I have as a female business owner. This was all women in this meetup, but like, obviously this doesn't have to be the case, but they can still relate to those issues. That's not specific to an industry or a type of business. A lot of the fears and the things that you're trying to shift your mindset on are universal to business owners. You know, it's very much something that people are going to be struggling with no matter what their job title is or their company does. So I know that this is easier said than done, especially if you are in a less populated area. It can be really hard to find people in person to meet up with, but there's also so many ways online to connect with other people. There's, Facebook groups, there's Discords, I think just finding conferences to go to where maybe you can meet people initially that are from other places in the country, but because you're interested in similar things, or maybe you do have similar types of businesses, you can connect online after the conference has passed. I prefer in-person meetups if I can, but I've also had a lot of virtual groups that have gotten together regularly, and I still get so much from those as well. So like I said, I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to find the right people to meet with, but I absolutely think it's worth the effort, because once you've established that group, it's so great to have them to turn to when you're struggling with things that people in your day-to-day life probably can't help you with because they're specific to being a business owner. So like I said, I know I'm just like tossing it out there. It's not like subscribing to a newsletter. This one does take a lot more work, but I really think it's worth it. And I definitely encourage people to at least try and see what they can sort of put together. And if it's not something that is in the cards for you right now, totally fine. But I think keep yourself open to the possibility of these things in the future. Maybe there's certain networking events that you wouldn't normally go to, but if you have this in mind that like, well, maybe I'll be able to meet people that I can sort of get together with afterwards on a regular basis and talk, like it's definitely worth the effort. So those are 5 resources I use to help with my mindset and my mental health around running a business. I'm curious to hear if any of you have used any of these things or similar items. What do you do as a business owner to help move past any like limiting beliefs you have when it comes to who you are as a business owner or what it means to run a business? Please feel free to comment below. I love hearing from all of you. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up. It helps me reach other viewers like you and help more small business owners or just people in general who are curious about this kind of stuff. And if you want to subscribe, you'll be notified for any future videos that I put out. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.